Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about sustainability and planning. So how planning and sustainability are interrelated and how we can achieve sustainability through the process of planning. So what is sustainability? Sustainability refers to preservation and conservation, future saved resources, minimum or proper use of the resources, ability to sustain or maintain over a period of time, capacity to survive now and then, filtering the resources according to the requirement for the present while monitoring or defining the level of the uses while enjoying it in present and as well as keeping it for the future without any wastage. Sustainable development like making infra according to survival or making a city livable one or maintaining quality of life. Development is not equal to betterment, it is same as trust and faith. Nothing is created, nothing disappears, everything is only transformed. It is a law of conservation of matter, and that's why we have to keep in mind that while planning and developing we have to be apply approaches which will be sustainable in long term. Sustainability refers to the capacity of our human society to continue indefinitely within the natural cycle or the within the existing natural resources. Sustainability is the interplay of three factors: social factors, environmental factor, and economic factor. When social and environmental factor interact, then we can say that the environment has a variable capacity. When environment and economic factors play together, then it will be called viable, whether it is economically viable in the current environment or not. When the economic and social factors play together, then it will be called equitable, whether the economic resources are equitably distributed or not, whether all the members of the society are gaining benefit from the economic ventures or not. And overall combination of social, economic and environmental together will be called sustainable development. So sustainable development is defined by the World Commission on Environment and Development 1987 is sustainable development meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. What is its purpose? Balancing the present and the future need, being sure of the fulfillment of the future needs, limited use of the resources for whom, for our generations, and how we can use it. So, efficient resource mobilization is needed. And why this is needed? Because we have to be more economical in uses and we have to preserve our natural resources so that our future posterity can take benefit of the resources that we are using currently. To limit energy consumption, reduce pollution, and protect natural areas and arable land is the main purpose of sustainable development goals. All stakeholders group, population groups, all countries, nations should have to take proper action for ensuring that sustainable development is taking place. Reuse of urban areas, more efficient utilization of building sites is a possible strategy for making urban areas sustainable. Continuous growth in the building stock is making it increasingly difficult to bring urban development in a countries within the frame of what is ecologically sustainable and equitable in a global perspective. Our cities are expanding and consuming most of the arable or agricultural land, and this practice is not sustainable. Many of the development are taking place where earlier it was a forest area, now it is denuded and now urbanization is taking place. So this should be discouraged and we have to think of making a sustainable approach to the planning and development. When and how it evolved, sustainability first appears in an ecological context in 1970s alongside the emerging environmental movement. Now it evolved to widely connoted the recognition that we must strive to achieve a decent standard of living for all people and live within the limit of the natural system. So, what are the difficulties of this theory of planners? Sustainability assumes to be truly a chaotic, confusing social environment. Then planners face a recondite or deep task in translating this concept into effective practice. The lack of clarity regarding the definition of sustainability with regard to scale, range, scope significantly limits the development of the clear mandate in planning, making it difficult to carry out and nearly impossible to evaluate. So, what are planners doing? Is the importance of this theory increased both at the state and federal or the international level? It is executed at the local as well as regional level. Planners influence both the meaning of the sustainability and the development and execution of sustainable plans and strategy for cities and their habitat is prime goal of planners. Most planners and planning scholars would agree that planning in present action toward making of a better future and as such inherently backward looking and future oriented simultaneously. The matter is of what ways and how far the plan for sustainability varies. Planners' effectiveness in promoting sustainability is therefore inevitably determined in some part of understanding of time, heritage, conservation, progress, and the future of the urban development or cities. So, what are planners doing? Right now, it is just an agreement upon the scope of sustainability planning at both the procedural and substantive level. Influential 3 E's model of sustainable development, which outline the substantive area of sustainability, which planners attempt to strike a balance like environmental protection, economic development, and social equity. So sustainable development depend have three component: society, economy, and environment. In social component, we have poverty, hunger, health, education, gender equality, water, and sanitation, which we have to improve so that the condition of social life improves. In the economic sector, we have to work on the energy system, work and economic growth, industry and infrastructure, removing inequality, sustainable, making cities sustainable, improving consumption and production pattern, and in the case of environment, we have to fight for climate change, water ecosystem, and land ecosystem. And this can be done entirely based on the institutional settings which are present at international level, national level, as well as local level. And it can be achieved better if we partnership with different agencies, different stakeholders at different level of the planning and development activities. So planners are doing the scope of sustainable planning is procedural and substantive. So these 3 E's are environmental protection, economic development, and equity, that is in the social context. Planning scholars would agree that planning in present action is making about a better city. So the sustainability is a long-term stretch from the present generation to the next generation. So it is interrelated activity of the social, environmental, and the cultural. It is recommended that adding the letter P for the politics and governance is very much essential to complete the model of sustainable planning practice. Sustainable planning consider the implications of decision making on human systems and strengthen partnership between organizations and community leaders who are working for a more sustainable future together. Planning perhaps more than any other profession is closely associated with sustainable development in terms of principles and requirement of the professional interventions and is closely associated with process crucial in resolving conflicts encountered in the process of implementing sustainable development practice. Interdependence between ecology, environment, economical and social factor is very crucial. So the core thing is the resources, and we have to think about environmental needs, economic needs, social needs, and then we have to plan for the quality of life, social and economic inclusion, and then we have to think about how this can be achieved through a mode of sustainable development. Today, many full range of strategies and projects are promoted with the claim that they are derived from the concept of sustainable development. It becomes politically impossible not to be a supporter of sustainable development. There is a clear danger that the concept will be watered out. What could be done actually for sustainability? It is apparent that if we are to plan for sustainable, socially just, economically sound, ecologically safe future, we need to embrace a holistic approach bolstered by creative thinking and action balanced by wisdom. Then only we can have a better sustainable development of the urban areas. Environmental sustainability appears to be emerging as one of the competent rationale for planning investor and democracies. The concept combines ethical norms of welfare, distribution, and democracy while recognizing that nature's ability to absorb human-made encroachment or pollution is limited. As per the Brundtland Commission, it makes clear that sustainable development is first and foremost about ensuring that everybody, both poor and rich countries, today as well as in future generations, can have their basic needs met through the natural resources. Living in standards that go beyond the basic minimum are sustainable only if consumption standards everywhere have regard for long-term sustainability. Yet many of us live beyond the world's ecological means. For instance, in our pattern of energy use, we have to regulate it and we have to make it sustainable by using more renewable sources of energy like wind, solar energy, and hydel energy. Meeting basic need for every day within the constraint set by Earth's ecological system and carrying capacity has two important implications. First, in order to secure the possibility for the future generations to meet their need, present day humans must limit their encroachment on the natural resources and environment. Secondly, it increased material consumption in developing countries, which can be necessary to in order to meet the basic need of the poor, must be accompanied by reduced material consumption level in industrial countries. The concept of sustainable development comprises a strong element of distributive ethics, focus on distribution of benefits and burdens over time and over different countries. Brundtland Commission emphasized that the conservation of nature should not rest only with the developmental goals. It is a part of our moral obligation to other living beings and future generations. It concludes that sustainable development requires a political system that can secure its citizens a real influence on the decision. The report emphasized the need for supporting grassroots initiatives, give more power to non-governmental organizations, and strengthen local democracy so that actual work can be done at ground level.